I was born in a polygamous home, and in a proper polygamous home, children grow up with the mothers. So I grew up with my mother in Boko. He raised me as an only child with a very strict hand and love. But she was just a nominal Christian, and we did go to church together. I was raised as a moralist. Found myself in Bristol Secondary School, Boko. And on the night, like we are here, Peace House, people came, presented a simple drama about hellfire. And it caught my spirit. Said there is a material in you that you must give up to die so that you receive a new one. Yes, you're a candidate for hell. It so much touched me that I wept all night. Before the person introducing the drama would ask for altar call, I was already standing. And I gave my life to Christ that day. I've been living this Christian life for years, but something happened. I am a very energetic person, and I always did think that there is no way energy could finish in my body. 4th of January 2012, I took ill. I had fever, and my wife called a friend who is a medical doctor. He came and attended to me and said it's malaria. Treated for 1 week, didn't go. I was going down gradually, and I was rushed to a private hospital. For 2 weeks, I was going down. I was referred to Federal Medical Center, Makurdi. And when I reached there, before that time, I noticed that my urine was reducing in output. And the color of my urine was more like coke. So when I finally found myself in Federal Medical Center, Makurdi, I couldn't urinate at all. So I had to put catheter. Sometimes when you see people with things, you think, what is this? And that was a very painful thing. Referred me to Benue State University Teaching Hospital. And as they were dragging me in on the coach, as I saw the 2 doors of the A&E ward open, that was the last I could remember. Right there on the coach, we went into coma. That was a time Lassa fever was so much heard of at that time. And people were dying left and right. What I still remember is one day after 3 days of being in coma, I saw myself being pushed in a wheelchair upstairs. And I asked the young man who was pushing me, and I said, "Where are you taking me to?" And he said, "Renal ward." I read English, but that name didn't click that day. I checked and it didn't click. I said, "What is renal ward?" He said, "That is where I'm taking you to." So I found myself in renal ward, and I saw 10 other people plus me, who were 11. And the professor of nephrology, who was a visiting prof from Unijust, Jude here, came after my result was brought out. My tummy was like 9-month pregnancy. My legs were swollen. My eyes were blood red. No urine was coming up. He looked at me and pushed his finger in my thigh. It sunk in and the dent could not be recovered. Held my hand and I could see his mark. And he said, "Young man, you had kidney failure. You will have to undergo dialysis 6 times if any help will come out of it. But from your result and from experience, you will be bedridden for life. And if God helps you, you come out and just be like a vegetable. And when my wife held that, I'm married to a very beautiful wife, a woman of faith. When she held that, she said, no, it's not possible. This man will rise again. And the man said, well, I'm just telling you what the results say. He said, this man will rise again. And, you know, in the hospital environment, there was no way she could pray. She rushed into the toilet, lay down flat on the ground and was interceding. The following day, started undergoing dialysis. It's a process altogether. I won't have time to tell you that. When dialysis for the first time, urine was coming out in droplets, blood red, so concentrated and very painful. I went for the second time, no show, and I went for the third time. A session of dialysis lasts for 4 hours. And then in 2012, we paid 15,000 naira. You buy drugs, what, 11,000, 2 pints of blood for transfusion. And God really helped us. So when I was to go for dialysis for the 4th time, my wife came to me and said, honey, our money has finished. Can you agree with me that this will be the last time you will go for dialysis? It was hard for me to believe when I heard what that prof told me. And then my power of speech left me and I couldn't speak. I was making signs and she couldn't understand me. And she held my hands and prayed and pushed me again to the dialysis unit. And I was there the first hour. I felt like urinating, and I beckoned on a male nurse. He brought a bedpan, and I filled it. After another hour, I felt like urinating. I beckoned on him. He brought a bedpan, and I filled it. After another hour, I felt like urinating. He brought a bedpan, and I filled it. And that was the beginning of urine. It was just pouring out. It was just pouring out. And it pushed me back and said, don't let this man go for dialysis again. And I stopped going for dialysis till that. So the professor visited again after the 2nd week, and he saw me, and I was dressed up and I sat up, and he looked, he said, is this Joshua? I said, yes, welcome, Prof. My speech returned good and fine. And he said, you are the new Lazarus. When I was to go for that 4th dialysis, we had 10,000 naira remaining, and I had a young man, much younger than myself, who was strapped down with kidney failure, and they had 5,000 naira looking for 10,000 naira. And my wife came to me and said, honey, I know you're not talking, but these people beside us need 10,000 naira to go for dialysis. You will go after them. And my sister-in-law who was with her said, your husband is sick and needs money and you giving that money. My wife said, I need bigger money, not 10,000 naira. So I wasn't talking, but I made sign and we let go the 10,000 naira, and the young man went for dialysis. Before evening, a woman in my chapter, how the daughter who was delivered of a baby boy in Abuja and couldn't turn at that roundabout, and said, Joshua in the hospital, let me just go and see him. And as he turned, the car moved. So he went to the hospital, saw me, and couldn't recognize me. And as he was about backing up, saw my wife at the threshold, and he said, I come to see your husband. He showed me a different person. My wife led her to the same bread. And he said, is this Joshua? This is serious. I don't have anything on me. Can you take this 20,000 naira away from me? Ladies and gentlemen, something happened very unique, and just beg for 1 minute to tell you this. While I was there still with the wounds, my wife would push me to the bathroom, bath me, and come back. That day she pushed me in there. I said, you too bath. He said, no, let me. I said, you must bath. He said, no, I said, you must bath. So she stripped off, and as she was about to bath, I heard her. I don't know what was wrong with me, but right there in the bedroom, I started sleeping with her. And as I somehow withdrew, I discovered that all that was coming out of me was complete water. And I said, God, so for the rest of my life, I just have a first baby. We're not going to have any other babies. And that was worrying me. But do you know that when I was discharged, my wife took in, heavily pregnant. And when she was going for antenatal, we do go together. And on the day of delivery, the doctor said, see, you have a challenge here. The fluid is dried. You need to bring money for operation. That's in the teaching hospital. He's a consultant. He's a Christian, and I respect him. But God didn't tell me that. I said, God said to me, look unto me. He assured me that for this cause I believe him, and I am so persuaded that he is going to protect that which I have committed to him against that day. And the doctor said, are you talking faith? And I said, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about my conviction. So he tossed the consent form to me, and I refused to sign. And I told my wife, sweetie, can you move? And she moved. All people say, Joshua, you see what they're doing? I said, I am responsible for what happens to me. And we went to another hospital. I said, doctor, can you check this pregnancy? He checked and said, everything is okay. I said, what are the options? He said, the first one is CS. I said, turn down. He said, the second one, we go home and wait. I said, I'm not going anywhere. He said, the third one, you will induct. I said, I go with that. And I asked my wife, do you go with him? My wife said, yes. And my wife was inducted. While she was there in the labor room, I came and I started scattering tongues. Rapalato keseta, yekasato lebo koseta. Ladies and gentlemen, I forgot myself. And as I was engrossed in praying and calling God, reminding him that that promise is this day, the ward attendant start tapping me. You have a bouncing baby boy. I tell you, I didn't know when I rushed into the labor room. Praise be to God.
I'm sure you have been blessed today. If you just made a decision for Jesus Christ, why don't you write to us? And we shall send you a free copy of our booklet now that you have received Christ. And should you want to be a part of our worldwide fellowship of businessmen and women, contact us at the best hotel around you or Ibadan, Full Gospel Area Office.
Precious blood